For thousands of years, many of the world's most influential people have been telling us that pain is good for us. Hello, my name is Jonah Primo, and welcome to the Over-Examined Life, where we explore wisdom from the world's greatest minds and apply them to everyday life and situations. Seneca, a Roman Stoic, wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." 1200 years later, Rumi, a Persian poet and Sufi mystic, gave us this wonderful line: "The wound is the place where the light enters you." In the 1800s, Hindu monk Swami Vivekananda preaches, "The more the struggle, the more glorious the triumph." While at the same time, on the other side of the world, German philosopher Nietzsche writes the famous words, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." And today, you can't go anywhere on the internet without someone telling you that pain is a key ingredient in growth. Navy SEAL David Goggins finds his way into my orbit now and then, and although he is arguably a little over the top, he is undeniably badass. I recently heard him say, "Pain unlocks a secret door in the mind, one that leads to both peak performance and a new life." So if all these great minds keep telling us how good pain is, why do we still fear it so much? We can pretend we don't, but we do. We can't help but structure our lives around avoiding pain and being anxious about possible future pain. But what if we actually listened to these people and allowed ourselves to believe that if we come across pain, we'll be better for it? And given that almost everyone I have met who has gone through some extreme suffering comes out of it saying, "It made me who I am today. It's how I learned to be resilient. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I learned more about myself during that time than I did in 20 years, and so on and so on and so forth." Doesn't it follow that a rational person should therefore be grateful for pain, even look forward to it? Pain seems to be some kind of personal growth wonder drug. Now, last time I had COVID, it led to significant health complications, and I really do mean significant. I ended up developing a vestibular migraine condition, which led to complete incapacitation for months at a time, and about 2 years of headache all day, every day. It was a pretty dark period in my life. And if you want to hear about the lows that I sunk to and how I clawed my way out, I talk about it in an earlier episode of this podcast, my complete chronic pain recovery. So COVID means something else for me and for others who developed some kind of long COVID condition than it does to the average Joe. I still have to fight an immediate internal emotional response when I hear people say things like, "It ended up just being a flu," or "It wasn't really a big deal." Well, maybe for you, but for some of us, it was literally the most significant event in our lives. But I say the word significant with a little bit of nuance, because although I squeezed into 2 years more suffering than any other time in my life, I do believe, on balance, I'm better for it. So getting COVID for a second time a couple of weeks ago came with, to say the least, baggage. It was difficult when I saw that thick red positive line not to wonder whether or not this was going to be another adventure into hell. But this time, there was a huge difference in context because I have different brain chemistry. I have a mind that has worked and put in numerous hours to practice resilience and acceptance, among other things. So even though I was still visited by anxious thoughts each day about the possible pain marathon that could be imminent, I was playing this game with a new deck of cards. I know I can't help the anxious thoughts that arrive in my head, but I can help how I respond to those thoughts. The strategy I normally use to deal with anxious thoughts is one I've talked about many times, to simply wave to the thoughts and say, "Hello." This is the gift mindfulness has given me. I can just enjoy observing the anxious thoughts, analyzing them objectively, having fun relating one anxious thought to another, seeing how it's different, comparing it, but never giving the thought control or fully engaging it. just saying, "G'day, anxious thought. I like your new haircut, but I'm in a rush, so let's catch up another time." But this time around, there was actually a way to engage with the anxious thoughts, if I wanted to. And I did want to because I had a lot of time on my hands, and I decided to open up an internal dialogue with the thoughts about pain. And the first thing I said to these thoughts was, "Just so you know I can navigate daily migraines, constant physical pain. I've done it before, and here I am to tell the story. All the suffering my migraine condition put me through ended up being a net positive in my life. So if my fate is more pain, bring it on." Because it could well be good for me. And I know this for two reasons. One, because 2,000 years of philosophers keep telling us, keep promising us this outcome, that pain leads to improvement. And I also know because I've experienced it firsthand. So if pain is coming, I'll be stronger for it. And this idea has given me a lot of comfort. It makes me feel unstoppable. But at the same time, I'm cautious of wholeheartedly committing to this fighter-like mentality without allowing for balance from a softer side. I don't want to get too machismo about all of this. I'm not trying to be a Navy SEAL. So there's also been an equally powerful and perhaps softer dialogue with the anxious thoughts that I've been opening up as well. And it's to do with the Buddhist idea of anicca, translated as impermanence. All things, whether physical, emotional, or mental, are in a constant state of flux. Nothing in life is permanent or static. Everything is transient, and everything is subject to birth, growth, decay, and dissolution. Thus, everything in the future is uncertain, and that which is certain now is temporary. So why is this useful? Well, my fear of a future full of pain may never eventuate. Given everything is always changing, my body is not the same body it was last time I got sick, my mind is not the same mind it was last time, and my COVID strain is not the same COVID strain it was last time. So I can't use past results to predict future returns. Every second of suffering I experience thinking about what might happen is needless suffering. It's a waste of energy. I could be enjoying anything that is certain in the present moment, such as great television, which I had an excuse to watch guilt-free given I was sick, rather than marinating in anguish about the future. Secondly, if everything is impermanent, if I experience pain, it will, at some point, pass, just like it did last time. It may take days, weeks, months, possibly years. I hope not years, but possibly. But it will pass. And even within each headache, the magnitude rises and dissipates. It's not always a 10 out of 10 in pain. When you're having headaches all day, every day, you learn to look forward to 5s out of 10. That's how good we are at adapting. It's something our species can take a lot of pride in. And finally, a huge part of why I believe I eventually completely recovered was because I stopped caring about my situation. I learned how to do the things I love doing while in pain. I just became stubborn about enjoying my life. And sometimes I crashed and burned in the attempt. I pushed myself too far and triggered something gnarly. But every time I went outside my comfort zone and pushed myself to the next level, even though sometimes I triggered a migraine that knocked me out for hours, it was 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you scale that concept up, that means you can get anywhere given enough time. So now it's been just over a month since I got COVID for a second time. And yeah, I still have some headaches and I still am a little dizzy. Now that could be seen as a bad sign that I'm not recovering the way I should be and that I'm in for another rough ride. Or it can be seen as just a fact of this particular second, one I don't need to give another thought. I'm just not that scared. And I'm lucky to be part of a supportive community, and I've had countless calls from concerned friends and family about my state of mind, given what happened last time I got COVID. But I'm trying to explain that I'm pretty relaxed about the whole thing. There's a good chance I'll be fine, and if I'm not fine, that's fine too. I'm Jonah Primo. This is the Overexamined Life. See you next time.